Okay, so do you know what OK Boomer is?
Yeah.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
I do. No,
You don't.
I do not.
Do you want to know what OK Boomer is?
Sure.
How can you best describe OK Boomer?
It is like kind of the expression of this generational like animosity with like younger people and older people.
A little bit of a way of poking fun at older generations.
Okay Boomer is a slogan. It's a 2-word slogan.
I would say okay Boomer is a response that millennials mostly confront theoretically someone from the Boomer generation with.
A little bit saucy or disrespectful or sarcastic.
When the Boomer says something like, millennials are ruining everything, or, well, we would have X if it weren't for, millennials, or just, if not explicitly complaining about millennials.
It's mostly propagated on the internet.
And so what it's now become is this really tired and played out meme. We have examples of it over here on the French wall, where essentially people make a joke about the cluelessness or intransigence of those over the age of like, I think 55 or something.
Just talking about something in a nostalgic way, as though things were better,
Yeah, back in my day.
back in their day, right?
Yeah.
It's meant to be a response to the coming 21st century apocalypse.
Do you find OK Boomer funny?
Yes, I find it very funny.
Oh yeah. I think it's hilarious.
Mostly no.
I mean, I'm sure it's gonna get old real fast.
Maybe when it first started, there were like some fairly like funny memes that came out.
I realized that every generation has to rebel against older people.
This is not new, that a younger generation is criticizing the older generation in a mocking way.
And so I see it as a natural part of
Yeah.
growing up.
I really liked the Australian senator. I'm not sure what the name of the body is, but she's a legislator. She was presenting on climate change, and some older member of her legislative body grumbled, and she just, without missing a beat, was just like, "Okay, Boomer."
Really, I chuckle.
It makes me laugh just thinking about it.
It gets to some real stuff, right? Like I think young people are really like pissed off about like not having access to like affordable education and housing, and like the fact that this older generation seems pretty ambivalent about like what we're doing to the planet. I think those are some real concerns.
And it was great in the context. It was great because she was doing it kind of in support of climate change. But it was also just great because she did it in a New Zealand accent. And that was kind of, okay, Boomer. I mean,
OK Boomer.
I can't do it in an Australian accent, but just the Boomer was funny.
But to say that like everybody in that generation is responsible, right, and has caused this is, I think, kind of problematic. Yeah.
Certainly, I think the great irony of this, if there was ever a generation that made its identity on saying we are distinct and the older generation has it wrong, it would be the baby boomers.
It would be the boomers, yeah.
Right.
There was some unrealized potential in the social movements, but I still think some things were accomplished.
It minimizes, it lumps a whole generation of people together and assumes that they all kind of have the same political views on things, when in fact, like, there are people that are my age, there are people that are your age, that share the same kind of political views that we ascribe to boomers.
Do you consider yourself a boomer? I know you are technically not a boomer.
Not even close.
But do you
I am
consider-
not technically a boomer, and I definitely don't consider myself a boomer.
I mean, by and large, no. Because like, who's gonna call themselves a boomer, right? Like, it's a pejorative.
I mean, my mom is a boomer, so,
If someone said OK Boomer to you, what would you think?
I would think my phone's ringing and I don't know how to answer it. So if some younger person was to say, "Okay, boomer," to me, I mean, I hope that I would understand that I need to rethink some old way of thinking.
I think about like the environment, right? I think about like being responsible in terms of like the ways in which I'm like try to be a steward of our resources, and like I'm not perfect about like, you know, not driving my car. I could do a lot better about being zero waste. I could do a lot better about like my carbon output in terms of like the way I eat. Like, you know, I still eat a little bit of meat every now and then, right? Like change now. On the other hand, I think that's totally BS, and it's a part of like the ways in which corporations have put the onus on the individual to deal with climate change while avoiding their own responsibilities. This whole like, oh, eat less meat, drive less, don't fly. Like, that's a drop in the bucket compared to like what we need to do with like corporations and big businesses and reining in like climate change. So
She's not really a boomer in that, and she doesn't act like a boomer most of the time, or in most ways.
So, do you know what a boomer is?
Well, I can think of two examples. One is that the mascot for the Pacers, I think, is called a boomer. It's like a cat or something like that. And then my other thought is like baby boomers.
Ding, ding, ding. Do you know anybody, I mean, you probably do. Do you know someone who is a baby boomer who would be a good example of like a backwards thinking, you know, probably right-wing person?
Oh, okay. So I gotcha. Who is approximately 50 years old? Is that would be a baby
55 to
Okay.
like 60 something.
Yeah, I'm sure I can think of someone. And can I use that phrase now? Okay, boomer?
Yeah, yes,
Stupid.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how would you describe this boomer?
I guess I would say that their perspective is very self-involved, and they do little thinking about how their behaviors or policies and things like that affect other people, and they focus mostly on how policies or decisions, whether they be political or kind of social interactions, only affect them, and they're only concerned about them.